One of those who's been most outspoken on the issue is Republican Senator Marco Rubio. He joined me earlier from Miami. Senator Rubio, how far is the U.S. Congress prepared to go to punish Russia over its actions in Ukraine?
Well, I think there's a strong bipartisan consensus that the new international norm cannot be that a country can simply invade its neighbor, lie about it, and do so without repercussions. So certainly our ability to influence the outcome of this is going to determine our ability to rally our allies in active action with regard to this. But I think the commitment is quite strong. I think there's a strong recognition across party lines that this is an important moment in the 21st century.
Right, but in terms of the European response, there is clearly reluctance to impose sanctions. They get so much of their gas from Russia. What would your message today be to America's European allies to say you have to get on board with this?
Well, a couple things that I would say. The first is we cannot accept as an established norm in the 21st century that a country can simply invade its neighbors because they don't like some political development going on within that country. And I think the repercussions of that would be felt well beyond Europe. I think there's Asia-Pacific ramifications to that as well. But I think certainly in Europe is the first line of this with regard to the situation that's going on there. I would also say that allowing this to stand would reward Russia to undertake this sort of activity in other parts of Europe in the future, which further destabilizing the region. So I do think it is critical for us and our allies to act together. There must be consequences for this having happened.
Are we looking at a situation in Crimea now where effectively Russia has changed the facts on the ground already and the international community has accepted that it has taken over?
Well, we have a couple of concerns. First, we want to make sure this issue doesn't get any worse, which of course means any expansion into the eastern part of Ukraine or even trying to destabilize the new government in Kiev as it transitions over to normalcy. So we must do everything we can collectively to prevent that from happening. The second aspect of it is that there must be a strong economic and international diplomatic consequence for the action that's already taken place. And I would not say the international community has accepted the situation on the ground. I think we realize what is happening and has happened. But in terms of accepting that as the new norm, I'm not quite sure that's where the international community is. I think there is collective outrage throughout the world because this has happened. And I think the only debate now is what do we do about it?
Senator Rubio, you have in the past been a proponent of American leadership in the world. Are we now looking at a reality, a new world order perhaps, in which American options are very limited and America's ability to fix crises is effectively over in this one?
Well, I would say to you that American ability to influence the world at every stage in America's story has always been limited. I mean, it's never been absolute. I think that's a myth. The reality of it is the U.S. economy is about a $16 trillion economy. The Russian economy is a $2 trillion economy. In terms of economic influence, Russia and the U.S. are not peers in that regard. What Russia has is it has significant military capabilities on a conventional basis, and they have very significant world-class capabilities on a nuclear front. And that does give them some leverage in terms of undertaking actions such as this. But I think that the bigger problem has been that the notion by this administration has been that put more responsibility on our allies around the world to solve problems while we focus on issues at home. And I think our allies would be the first to say that sort of approach has not worked out well.
Senator Marco Rubio, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.